This is the farmhouse where I grew up, where my father grew up, where my grandfather grew up, where my great-grandfather grew up. The main house was built in 1860. We got electricity in 1943 with the Rural Electrification Act. And now what I am doing is I'm removing the majority of the 1960 updates and reverting the era back to somewhere between 1920 and 1950. I'm going to show you each room in the order that I did them years ago. While I am no more of a carpenter or a designer than any member of my family has ever been, I'm doing it to suit me and my tastes. Back in book 1, when we were working on the kitchen, we had this white cabinet that we called the cereal cabinet because that was where we had our cereal every morning before we went to school. So it was in the way, so we dragged it out into what would become the lab, and it sat there for quite a while. And then as we were starting to redo the lab, we kept moving it around because it was always in the way, and we finally decided maybe we can turn this into something. So this is what we did with our cereal cabinet. We started by stripping off the plastic fake applique that was on the front, and then we started scraping the multiple layers of white paint off. And we discovered that before it was white, it was gray, very close to the paint color that we call mud, and under that was kind of an olive green. So we scraped a piece of that olive green, and I had it scanned, and eventually it would be repainted in its original color. And here you can see from inside the right-hand door, this is where we found the olive green and got a piece big enough to be scanned. And here you can see where we had painted it olive, and if you notice, the bottom section is missing, and it's now on legs, and I'll show you why we removed the bottom section and put legs on. If you notice the underside of the base, there are metal shelving brackets that are modern. So obviously it was slapped together with some planks and used as a base because whatever the base was that cabinet originally sat on was long gone. So we just removed it, and we decided that the legs looked better than that cobbled up base, and it gave us storage under the cabinet. And here you can see we've got the inside painted the house gray mud color. And then to make it useful, we filled it with glues, adhesives, paints, spray foam, you name it. Chemical-wise, it's in there. And it's really nice not having to look for something. Everything is in one place. And then I turned my attention to the drawers. Now, they always were the kind that you would wiggle sideways and pull very hard to get them out because they just bound up. So what I did was I knocked the face off and then knocked the back off, brought the sides in the thickness of modern drawer slides, and assembled the thing back together so that now the drawers open with 2 fingers. And here you can see the drawers back into position, and if you notice all the body fill along each side of the drawers, or drawer faces, and the center. The center there was some kind of a pull that was designed more for a bedroom cabinet. So we took that off, filled the holes, and also there was a million nails on each side holding the sides on that we had to pull out, and of course they were square nails, which made it very difficult. So anyway, we had to fill all those holes with body fill and sand it down smooth. And then at an antique show, we found proper wooden pulls that are period to roughly when that cabinet would have been built. And the fronts got painted the olive green, and the inside was painted the gray house mud. And that made the drawers very useful. And this is how we took our cereal cabinet and turned it into a useful storage cabinet in our kerosene lab.